Hi there, Kristen again, ready for some more fun crafting. Now today we're talking about the story of the workers, the tenants that were in the vineyard. And the main emphasis on the story is that God gives us second chances and that Christ is the cornerstone of the church. And there's also a vineyard, so we're going to throw some grapes into our crafts today. So we've got two crafts that kind of have to do with grapes or vines, and then we have another one that has to do with the cornerstone concept. So we're going to start with that one. We're going to start with the cornerstone, and you're going to need, you can use little baby plates, you can use bigger plates, or you can even just use paper or cardstock. But we're going to basically make a decoration or medallion with these plates. And you can do it in a couple of ways. We're going to sort of make it like a pop out. So you're going to stack two of these little plates together. And in one of them, you're going to cut a hole. And what we're going to do is we're going to place a small stone in the center. We're going to draw a cross around the stone. Now the purpose of having this extra plate is so that you can have a sturdy spot for your stone to go. So we're going to start with that. We're going to start out by using, you can use a regular rock from outside, or you can take a pretty decorative stone. You going to help me pick out a stone, Fiona? Sure. And you're going to place that in your little hole there. And you can tape it down if you need to. Again, you don't have to have this secondary plate. It just kind of helps to stabilize everything. Now you're going to, if you do have your secondary plate underneath, you're going to put some glue around the edge so that you can glue that together. And just let it get nice and solid. Now we're going to draw our cross around this outside area. So take any color you like, of course. And you could even make this extra decorative if you wanted to put a paper cross around it, or perhaps even do some extra cutting and cut across. You can fill this area in. Obviously, this is not perfect, but we're getting the idea. Filling it in, and then we're going to give ourselves a caption. Why is there a random rock in the middle of a random cross? What's going on with this craft? So we can remember that Jesus is the cornerstone, and talk about what that means. The cornerstone is the foundation. It's the important edge around which the rest of the building can be built. So Jesus is the foundation of the church, and we're kind of like the bricks. We're his people that take care of growing the church. So very simple. You can make this extra decorative by maybe stringing some yarn or pipe cleaner in this, and you can hang it up, or you could just have it like this, like a little decoration. Get more creative, get less creative, whatever you have time, resources, and energy for. So that's craft number one. Jesus is the cornerstone. Now it's going to get a little funky because our next craft, we're going to make a vine with some grapes on it. You have a couple of options, or you actually have a lot of options. There are many ways that you can make grapes, but the way that we are going to make grapes is a little strange. So we're going to start with a vine. And we're going to be wrapping this vine around a tube. This is kind of like our vine stake here. And then we're going to attach a cluster of grapes to the top of this. And we're going to give it a little leaf just for fun as well. You will see momentarily what that entails. So here's our vine. And you can write something on this. You can write something to the effect of bear fruit of the Spirit. If this is a craft that's for Jesus being the vine, you could write stay connected to the vine. That would be great too. But here come our grapes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some purple paper into strips. And this is going to be the basis of my grapes. That's my vine. The cat really likes pipe cleaners. So we're going to cut it into strips. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be even. Because guess what? Grapes are all different shapes and sizes too, right? So we're going to cut these. Now we're going to make our cluster of grapes. So you can do this. You can do this with glue, but then of course you'll have to wait for it to dry. So you may want to do it with tape or perhaps with a stapler. And we're going to basically fold them into little circles, and then we're going to connect them to one another and to the vine itself. So you could you can do this as you go. You're kind of rolling it into a circle and taping it, and then taping it together and adding it to another part of your cluster. Okay, really now. Really. I fed you. You're good. Attention hog. And so you're making your little cluster of grapes grow. Now, for the sake of timing, this is going to be rather a small cluster of our grapes so that we can move on to the final craft. But you could do a big cluster if you would like more grapes. Or you could also, here's another option that is kind of fun. You could also use another mode for your grapes, such as, suspense is killing you, I know, such as a balloon. Well, multiple balloons, really. So you can make small balloons if you want a really big cluster of grapes. Blow up some small green and or purple balloons and add them to your vine and make this really a cluster. So this balloon is going to be kind of more like our leaf, and then we're going to have our little cluster of grapes over here. So here's our grapes. Here's our really enormous leaf. And we'll do our best not to pop it. And there you have it. You have a vine. Now, of course, if you don't have to do this big vine part, you could always just attach a label to your grapes and hang them up like a nice little bunch of grapes. Or you can mix and match. You can do other shades of purple. You can do green grapes. You can make it however you like to do it. This is just kind of a launching pad to get you started on a grapey craft. Speaking of grapey crafts, we have one more for your fabulous vineyard pleasure. And this one is going to be a grape collage. The theme we're going to focus on here is this second chances idea. And if you saw the children's message, we kind of looked at grapes and compared them to raisins and talked about how in a small sense, in an unusual sense, a raisin is kind of like a grape that got a second chance because maybe it wasn't a perfect grape, but it turned into a raisin and was still able to do things. So we're going to focus on that idea, and we're going to use a piece of paper this time to make our cluster of grapes. And we're going to mark it with a caption. We're going to say, God gives second chances. And then when parents say, why in the world is this here? Hopefully, kids will be able to explain it. Now, you can draw a vine or with some little leaves, or you can also add another pipe cleaner to your paper to really make this pop out in three-dimensional format. You can even put some little twisty turnies in your pipe cleaner. And you could glue that or tape it or staple it or whatever you would like to do onto your paper. Here we go. Now for our grapes. We're going to take, you can take tissue paper, or you can take just little strips of regular purple paper. And these we're going to glue, or you could tape, but for this one, glue might work a little better. Just put a bunch of little gluey dots down here. And we're going to glue our purple tissue slash construction slash whatever kind of paper you happen to have. Grapes, in quotation marks. Just kind of make it a popped out circle there. And we'll just plop those all over. And again, they don't have to be purple. They could be green, they could be red, they could be pink, they could be black, they could be whatever kind of grapes you like to eat. I really like when those cotton candy grapes are on sale. Those are fantastic. If you have never had a cotton candy grape, highly recommend it. It tastes like sugar. Anyways, so on one side we have our grapes, and then on the other side, guess what we're going to do? We're going to, you may want to crumple your paper further. As you can see, my grapes are kind of popping out. So on the other side, we're going to put some more glue, and over here, we're going to put our second chance grapes with our raisins. So we're going to glue down. And I know what you might be thinking. Either, why in the world would I want to have raisins in my house? Or, why would I waste perfectly good raisins on a craft? Because I feel like raisins are kind of like candy corn. It's a love-hate thing. Either you really like raisins, or you really don't. I really like raisins. And candy corn, as it happens to be. We'll have crafts on that coming up, don't you worry. Anyways, here is our grapes to raisins collage picture. So, you got your grapes, you got your second chances, you've got your vineyard, you've got your cornerstone, you got your vines, and of course, all of this is just to get your wheels turning and balls rolling, and you can take it and run with it, or don't, or do whatever you like. So, did you like it? Did you do it? Did you try it? Did it fail? Did it flop? Did you adjust? Feel free to comment, like, subscribe below. We have new videos coming out every week with fun crafts and ideas for your Sunday school and children's messages. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Have a great week. Make disciples, make some crafts.